Hello, my friends, and welcome to the 10-Minute Book Talk, where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes. I'm your host today, Rachel Linden, and I'm joined by the fabulous Katherine Reay, and usually Marie Bostwick, who is also fabulous, is our other co-host. But today we are celebrating the release of her wonderful new novel, ESME CAHILL Fails Spectacularly. So we are having a little launch party instead. So we're going to raise a glass and say cheers to ESME.
Cheers to ESME.
And we're going to talk about this awesome book that I love.
Thank you. I thought you were going to say that, Marie Bostwick is normally fabulous, but today she is not.
Yes, so. Today she's fabulous and our special guest. That was the point of that. We're a little punchy today, guys. We are excited. Katherine and Marie both have released books, and so things are happening. So Marie, tell us a bit about your book.
Oh, well, so obviously this is about ESME CAHILL, but it's really the story of two very ambitious and talented women from different eras, each of them who are trying to carve out a life and a living for themselves as an artist. First of all, we have ESME, who after leaving home to Asheville, went to New York intent on becoming a best-selling author by the age of 22, right? Easy peasy if you concentrate, right? But after, I think it's 263 rejections, she realizes that maybe that is not what she's good at. And she ends up with having a very successful career as a book editor until, of course, the moment when she is not successful anymore. She ends up going back home to Asheville, North Carolina, and the Lakeside Lodge, where she was raised by her loving yet quirky grandparents, Adele and George. Adele has passed away, but as soon as ESME gets there, she starts to realize that Adele may have something to tell her or a story that she wants to uncover. And in fact, she does uncover a story of her grandmother, Adele, who was, unbeknownst to ESME, a gifted artist who never received her due. That was pretty good for me, right? I'm usually really bad.
Well done. Well done.
I usually talk for like an hour. So that's what it's about.
Okay, so one could, in a way, almost call it a split time story, but in reading, it's really more of a story in a story. Yeah. And I love how you, in such an original way, have woven those together, but also, because I adore you doing this myself, you have real history, facts within that past that you bring out in this contemporary context. So tell me how that was for you, what drew you to those aspects of history. I mean,
yeah, and actually, so Adele is not originally from there, and I needed, like, why would this woman in the dawn of World War II, like, why would she be going to Asheville, North Carolina? What would have sent her there? Well, I found this really fascinating when I was doing my research, which a lot of people know, but I hadn't known about it yet, that during the Second World War, much of the collection of the newly opened National Gallery of Art was secretly shipped to the Biltmore, and hidden there, kind of hidden in plain sight, was millions of dollars of some of the greatest artwork in the world, but people didn't really know it. And so that became sort of a hook that I could bring Adele into. And in fact, Adele is somebody who wants to be an artist, but it's tough for artists no matter what, but particularly for female artists, and particularly in this period of time. So she's got to eat. So rather than being able to make art, she starts getting a job at the National Gallery of Art, thinking, well, if she can't make it, at least she can be around it, right? It's like, how many of us book writers ended up working in bookstores initially because we hoped it would kind of rub off on us, right? So we get to be around the thing we love. So anyway, when her married boss makes a pass at her and she deflects this, next thing she knows, she is finding herself on a bus on the way to the Biltmore to babysit other people's art for the duration of the war, and she is not happy about it.
Yeah.
I love it. And a great setting too. I mean, the Biltmore, Asheville, lovely, lovely setting. So much that is rich for a story. And also there's like the Lakeside Inn and like,
yeah.
Great. Okay. So I want to talk about ESME because as the title suggests, ESME fails spectacularly.
Spectacularly.
So tell us, I think one of your greatest strengths, you're an excellent writer. Technically, I just love your writing. It's funny, it's witty, it's smart. But you write these deeply human characters, and you allow them to make mistakes and have flaws, which is wonderful to read because it's really relatable. So tell us about Esme and her failing spectacularly.
Well, first of all, when, the title came to me, it was like, oh, that's a good title.
It is a great title.
Like failing spectacularly. And personally, I am someone who has embraced my ability to fail spectacularly on a regular basis. And I think you have to be able to laugh at yourself about those things, right? One of my jokes around our house is like, I'll do something like, I won't be able to open the back door. My husband walks over and opens the back door simply, and I'll be like, well, life is filled with hidden IQ tests that I am failing on a daily basis. So I think the whole idea of failure is something that people are terrified of. In our society, particularly, we all want to look successful and wonderful. We want our hair to be great all the time. We want our Instagram to look gorgeous. That's so not real. We are terrified of failure, and yet failure is something every single one of us is going to experience at some time. And so in a way, I think that by facing it head on, it sort of takes the fear of it. Once you realize it's a natural part of life, the trick is how do you navigate through it and how do you come back from it? So that's really part of what I really wanted to talk about in this book.
Oh, I love that.
I like that too. Okay, so you touched upon it, Rachel, that Marie does have this gift of these multi-dimensional, beautifully human characters, but Marie, you have another gift, and that is an ensemble cast.
Oh, yeah.
You don't let any character be two-dimensional and flat. You create beautiful ensembles. And so I'm betting in the Esme Cahill book that there's another cast member who stole your heart. Maybe Esme did too, but I bet there's a secondary who stole your heart, and I would love to know who that is.
Well, obviously, I love Esme. I love Adele. But there's a lot of great characters in this book. And you're right, ensemble cast of characters are what I do, sometimes to my own peril. I'll end up with 47 different characters. They're all really great. Every time I read a book by somebody who's got one central character and maybe two other people, and it's a great story, and she just goes straight through that, I think, wow, why don't I know how to do that? That feels like it would be so much easier because I've got all these people who have to come together in this big tangled mess. But yes, that is what I do. Okay, so there was a question you asked me. Oh yes, I remember now. So there are a lot of characters I love, but one, I love a good curmudgeon so much. So much. I do love a curmudgeon. It's unusual for me to not have at least one curmudgeon. And here, the curmudgeon I have is an arrogant male writer who was at the top of his game and is sliding downward, whose name is Oscar Glazier. He's difficult. He is an absolute PETA. He makes poor Esme's life very, very hard. And yet, you feel a certain sympathy for him. And I really, really loved writing him. And I really, partly because, and I'm not going to name names, but girls, I've met that writer. I'm not saying who. Anyway, but Oscar was a lot of fun to write.
Oh, that's great. I love that.
Oh, and there's just, such a rich cast of characters, rich setting, rich cast of characters, rich emotional resonance, because it's all about Esme growing and figuring out how to move on past failure. So I am curious, with this lovely, I wanted to say lovely mess of a novel, but I don't mean it's a mess. It's a wonderful novel. Esme's life is a mess and she is figuring things out. What are you hoping that people walk away with?
That is really, what I always want first and foremost is to just entertain people. Life is hard and we need a little bit of escape. So if that is all I do for anybody, then, I have done my work and that's a good payday for me. But back to that issue of failure. We are all going to experience it at some point. And I hope that in reading this book, people are going to be able to realize that failure, in the moment, it might be failure, but it also might be the first step on a road to a future that you never could have imagined. That kind of thing. And I've written about this many times in my books, that, you know, sometimes you get further down on the road to life and it just feels like chaos. And you turn around and you look at where you've been and you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't know it in the moment, but there was a plan. There was a plan and a purpose. And I had to fail at that moment or I wouldn't be where I am now. And where I am now is a good place. So, you know, that's what I really want. Sometimes, guys, failure might be the jumping off point to the life you are meant to live. That is a wonderful thing in this book.
Amen.
Well said.
I am going to quote you on that. That is
beautifully said.
All right. Well, Marie, thank you. And hold your book up. Hold your beautiful book up.
We also hold our beverages up.
Such a fun cover. Love that cover. We're all wearing blue to celebrate. If you can tell, we're all color coordinated. So folks, run out. It's almost summer. It's time for summer reading. You're going on vacations. You're going on family trips. You're going to have road trips, or you're just going to sit in the sun with a good book. And this is the book you need to grab. You need to go out and grab ESME Cahill Fails Spectacularly, because we all need a little reminder of our humanity. We need a little bit of hope, and we need just a darn good, entertaining story. And Marie gives us all of that. So cheers to ESME Cahill. Cheers to you, Marie. And we hope, we hope you will join us next week for more 10-minute book talk fun. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.